Hello, welcome back, and thank you for joining me. My name is Annette, and I'm your host here at Coaching You for You tonight. Our topic is a good one. It's a short one because it's broken into three pieces, so you won't get everything tonight. This is the start of a series. Thank you for joining me. And tonight we're talking about what to do when your heart is broken. Now, again, I'd like to apologize for being late. That's something that I work really hard on not doing. But when you have folks from out of town and they require attention, you have to take care of that. So let's talk a little bit about, what to do when your heart is broken. And we're going to talk about some do's, some don'ts, the reality, and some solutions tonight. And we're not going to keep you long. I'd like to thank you again for joining us here at Coaching You for You. I think I have a little issue here. Just give me a second. And let me reach over. And I'm going to go back out and come back in because we have a problem. I'll be, oh, I don't know if I can do that. I'm not going to be able to do that. And so, thank you again for joining me. My name is Annette, and I am your host here at Coaching You for You. I have to use another sound check device. I checked it earlier and it was on, and I checked it again just now, and I'm not seeing the bars that confirm that you can actually hear me. And so before I jump into this very worthy podcast tonight, I want to be sure that you can hear me. And so just give me 1 second, just bear with me. And again, thank you so much for your patience. I appreciate it. from death, from failed relationships, from failed friendships, from things that didn't work out, in my career as I thought they would. I had to heal from that. I had to learn how to grow through that. And a lot of times, folks will ignore those feelings. I'm not one to ignore feelings. If I'm feeling something, I want to feel it. I want to go through it because I want to get to the other side of it. And as I've always shared with you, just as I coach, life skills and lifestyles and things of that nature, I have a coach. And those things matter. Don't get stuck in the past. You know how when your heart is broken, you keep replaying these scenes over and over and over again in your head? Not good. You don't need to do that. Don't deny your needs. Don't deny the past, but don't labor in it. Don't get stuck there. Past is a chapter, it's not the whole book. And in not denying your needs, you have to reevaluate what your needs are. Some people think it's to be with somebody, whether it's a family member, a friend, a lover, a husband, an ex husband, or be on the same job forever. It's not. And so sometimes in those separations, our heart gets broken. And the only thing I want you to take away from this tonight is that the reality of that is life. It's life. And there's not a whole lot we can do about that. And so we have to keep moving on. We just have to keep moving on. We have to keep doing what we're doing. We have to keep living because life is tough. So when your heart is broken, remember self-care is important. Remember to reevaluate. Remember to do things for yourself. Date yourself. I'm talking about losing my twin sister and learning how to not pick up that phone and call her every day, even if she was cursing me out and telling me off about something I was wearing or doing, which I miss. I miss that. I miss it. As crazy as it sounds, I miss it. I miss that in her. I miss all of it. And so, just remember to do some of those things to take care of yourself. Don't get stuck in the past. Don't deny your needs, but don't go jump into another relationship either if it's about a relationship, because heartbreak comes in many forms. And no matter how it comes, remember to take care of yourself in it. And don't be embarrassed of your situation either. A lot of times folks say, well, you know, do you want people to know that? I'm really not, what I give you, I give you. I'm not concerned about what you know or what you think. I'm concerned about healing through the heartbreak. The thing that broke my heart, the bad relationship, the death of family and friends. I'm concerned about that. I have to get through that. And, some of y'all faking it anyway, you know. And I had to remember to make a plan for what I was going to be doing moving forward in that heartbreak. Because guess what? The hardest thing for me in every time I suffered and my heart was broken was waking up and realizing that people were still living as if life was normal. Well, it wasn't normal for me, but it was normal for them. And I had to remember that no matter what happened in my heartbreak, life was going to go on. That wasn't always comfortable. So I had to make a plan. And in many situations, I had to distract myself and I had to do other things so that I stayed occupied. Because, excuse me, when you're up here by yourself, you're behind enemy lines. You have to talk to people. You have to share about it. You have to talk about your pain because that's how you get through pain. You talk about it. It doesn't just go away. If you're in a bad relationship, talk about it. That's heartbreaking. Talk about it. Find somebody you trust and talk about it. Even if you have to pay for a therapist, find somebody you trust, find a coach, pay them and talk about it. But talk about it. Don't stuff it because eventually it all comes up and it all comes out in your behavior, in your attitude, in the things you say, the way you say them, the things you do. And so, when you've been dumped, when people die, and you've been punched in the stomach and all the wind has been knocked out of you, the do's and the don'ts. Don't labor in the past. I think that's the most important thing I can tell you. And I can also tell you to go through the grief. Get this. I think there's 7 stages of grief. I thought there were 100 because I constantly went through them. But Get that book on the stages of grief. And no matter what the heartbreak is about, go through those stages, recognize them, and accept them, because that's the reality of grieving. That's the reality of heartbreak. You have to grieve through it. It's not just going to go away. You can't abracadabra and it's gone. That's not the way it works. Life is going to happen no matter, it's going to show up. It's going to punch us in the gut sometimes, no matter what we do. Remember that. Set boundaries, stay away from people, places, and things that add to your heartbreak. Stay away from it. Invest in yourself. That's part of the dating thing. Invest in yourself. Put some energy into you. If you break an arm, or for anybody who has ever broken a bone, right? That bone had to be reset, and there was a healing period. Same way you have to deal with a broken heart, because it's broken. And sometimes it feels physical. A lot of people, when their hearts are broken, they get sick, they get depressed, and a lot of things go on. Treat that heartbreak the same way you would treat a broken bone. Take care of it, protect it, invest in its healing. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to spend money. It means that you have to put some energy and effort into it. And then, if it's somebody else who's broken your heart, consider writing them a letter. Don't send it, but write the letter. And because you know what happens too when other people are involved in the heartbreak? We wait for the apology. We wait for the closure. That's not always going to happen. And so you're riding around on this high horse like, yeah, well, as soon as they apologize, then I'll get with it and I'll understand it and I'll be in a better place. No, actually, you won't. So here we go. What worked for me? This is my experience, strength, and hope. I wrote a letter. I wrote a letter to the person that hurt me. And I told them what they did, how they did it, and how I felt. And I held on to that letter for a little bit because I was adding to it. Yeah, writing about it does help. Write a letter to that person, but you don't ever have to send it. It just gives you an opportunity to write down your feelings and your thoughts about what happened, how you felt, and what they did to you. Don't wait for closure. That's not always going to happen. So don't waste your time with it and occupy yourself. Do some things. Do something different. Try self-care, real self-care. Doesn't have to cost money. Buy a small bottle of sugar scrub. I like the lavender vanilla. I love it, from Bath and Body Works. Give yourself a sugar scrub. There's nothing better in the world than a sugar scrub. Get it. It works. And, the no boundaries. Keep those boundaries in check. Yep. Keep them in check. So if you break a bone, are you going to go and let people be around people who bump up against that bone and push you and further injure that arm? You're not, right? Treat your heart the same way. Take care of it. Protect it. Everything flows from your heart. It does. That's in the Bible. Everything flows from your heart. And for those of you who are in relationships with no guard, you're asking for destruction. You have to have boundaries. You have to protect your heart. You have to have some do's and don'ts. And this list that I've given you tonight is not exhaustive. There are other things that you can add to it. There are other things that go with it. Just don't remember to take care of yourself. Remember to set boundaries. Remember to date yourself. Remember to invest in yourself. Remember not to labor in it. Remember that you don't have to wait for the apology because sometimes it's not coming. You don't have to wait for the closure because it's not coming. You can close that door yourself. Write that letter. But above everything else, just remember this. Enough. You're going to suffer heartbreak from a lover, from a friend, from family, from enemies, from people on the job. You're going to suffer heartbreak from death. You're going to suffer heartbreak from separation. You're going to suffer heartbreak when your kids have not exactly gotten it right. But here's what I want you to know. You're powerless over everything and everybody except you. Take care of you. You matter. Give yourself a break. I promise you. If I'm wrong, come back and tell me. But life on life's terms can be tough. And every now and then we all get punched in the gut. And our heart gets broken. Mm-hmm. Even if it looks like it doesn't. Everybody gets a broken heart. Everybody suffers from a broken heart sooner or later. Have a good evening and take care of yourself. You are the most important person to you, and you are going to live with you longer than anybody else. Have a good evening and thank you for joining me. I'm Annette here coaching you for you. Shout out to all the people who are trying to get it right tonight. Good night.